Good morning, everyone. I am Sierra Stewart, and I am with Corefact, as you likely know. And today's presentation is going to be about let's hit Q4 hard. So, the reason for this presentation is just to address a trend that I've seen. And you may feel a little called out, and that's okay, because that's part of what today is going to be. It's some tough love in that we see people start to get a little lax this time of year. And one of the things that we see people do is something called the throw in the towel fallacy. And we're going to address that today with four different topics that we are going to address, and not so much a Corefact sales pitch, although I'm definitely going to weave in some Corefact products that can help you with some of these strategies, but really focusing on four major strategies that are going to help you push through the last 3 months of the year. And that's a quarter of the year left, y'all. We're not done yet. There's still a lot left of this year. We just had an interest rate drop, as you know. And so there's a lot of opportunity to come out, and there's still more business to be earned and won this year. So those four main strategies are going to be number one, don't stop what you're doing. We're going to talk about that because that's something I see people doing this time of year. Number two is let's talk about sphere. Let's talk about friends, family, that sphere of influence group. That why is that so important this time of year? And as we're heading into the holidays, we're talking about that. Number three is going to be social media moments. And this isn't necessarily a Corefact product, but it's going to be something that potentially you could use to promote via Corefact. So we'll talk about some ideas there. And then number four is setting yourself up for 2026. So part of what we want to do at the end of the year is really strategize for the next year. Okay, so let's dive into it. So number one, and I don't have any great slides to show you, so I'm just going to be talking at you, and I hope that's okay. Feel free to, in the Q&A, or sorry, in the chat, say hello, where you're from, if you have ideas, if you have comments, and I will be checking the chat periodically as we go along. But number one, I want to talk about the continuing what you're doing this time of year. This is Q4. We are a week away from October. Can you believe it? And it's going to be here before we know it. What I see people do a lot of this time of year is, Amanda, hi from South Carolina, welcome, is that they just say, you know what, I'm just going to reset in January. I am just going to take the rest of the year off and coast, and it hasn't been the year I wanted, and we're definitely feeling that here at Corefact. We're in the same business you are, so we know what you're feeling. And it's easy to just say, you know what, let's just kick back and relax, and we'll just reset in 2026. That's my big red X. No, it's 25% of the year is left. And here's kind of that fallacy. This is called the throw in the towel fallacy. And to compare it, it would be like, and I've done this, and maybe you can relate. Imagine you're on a diet, and lunchtime someone passes around, I brought in brownies, I baked them this weekend. Would you like one? You take a brownie, you go, what? I ate a brownie at the end of the day for lunch, so then I'm going to go have fast food for dinner and chips for dessert, and I'm just going to blow my healthy eating for the rest of the day because I had that one brownie. So that is what we see people doing. I skipped a month of marketing. I didn't get the listings I wanted this month. I forgot to post on social media, so I'm just going to screw it for the rest of the year. And we see people with this throw in the towel fallacy mindset, which maybe the brownie wasn't the healthiest choice. Don't continue to go down that slippery slope of making bad choices. Reset. And it's interesting because a reset doesn't always have to take place at a mile marker. That's another fallacy we see. So a lot of times, when do people start their marketing plans? In January, for the most part, right? Did you all of you have a marketing plan that you started in January? And that's because it's a reset, right? Or if you're starting a diet, you started on a Monday. That's a reset. You can reset anytime. You know what a great time for a reset is? Q4, October 1st. So if you had a marketing plan that you instituted at the beginning of 2025 and you have slipped, you have forgotten to market every month, you have missed a month, you've let things slide, but you had the intention because you knew it was a good idea, reset. Keep what you're doing. And if you're doing something that's working, keep at it. Don't give up. So maybe you have been consistent. Maybe you have been marketing every month. Maybe you have been hitting your goals. power through and keep consistent to the end of the month again, or the end of the year. A lot of times, again, we see people with the holidays, with the market starting to traditionally slow down towards the end of the year. We see people start to just have that mindset of, I'll just start again in next year. Don't do it. Stay strong. Okay. So number 2 is let's talk about sphere. And I am going to jump into our Corefact page here. And this is, let me show my screen. Here on the screen, we're going to jump into items that you can share with your sphere. And I do want to talk about sphere this time of year in particular. Many of you have farm areas that you are sending to on a regular basis. And if you're communicating with your sphere, potentially, if they're not in your farm area, you've moved them to something that is a little bit less expensive. Mail is expensive. We know that, but it's effective. And that's why we offer it, because it works. So once you have created a relationship with someone, you may have moved them from mailing to them now that you have permission to email them or phone call them, or they wouldn't be weird if you dropped off with something. Maybe you've moved them to a different kind of interaction. If it's friend, family, past client, that's what we're talking about with your sphere. Someone you have a relationship with, not a prospect, someone that you could call up, have a conversation with, and it wouldn't be weird. So with those people, what are you doing currently? Often we see that you're emailing them. Maybe you are texting them every quarter. Maybe you are calling them once a year, whatever it is. I encourage you to have a personal interaction with them other than email in Q4. Okay, so if you are emailing your past clients or touching base with them on social media, that kind of thing, that's a digital touch. Q4, make it personal. Why? Because nostalgia is all about the holidays. This is when we have the memories. This is when we remember our first Christmas that we moved into the house and the realtor that got us that house. Remember the first thing that we did in this house. Remember growing up. Remember last Christmas when we were all together. Remember last Hanukkah when we lit the menorah in that room and this was the first time we did that. All of those memories start to come to play into people's minds, and they start remembering those moments in their home. And if you were the one that introduced them to their home, maybe you help them buy or sell the home that they're in, or you have the potential, because you're a friend and family member, to help them, in that next stage. This is the time to make those connections for them. Help them make those connections with you. How do we do that? I think it's just like something physical, right? Because digital communication is just one part of your brain. When you touch physical, it's almost like a hug. So I would say this is the time of year to send them, whether it's a holiday card. We have great pieces here, and I'm going to dive in a little bit to the Corefact section. By the way, if you're not familiar with Corefact, quick little word about us. We are a real estate focused marketing company that makes it easy for you to keep in touch with your clients, prospects, and past clients through farming automation. We have a lot of systems in place. We'll talk about systems here coming up. And then, of course, listing promotion, branding, et cetera. But what we're really talking about in this moment is your sphere. Okay. So if we look at these pieces here, these are physical pieces. And why physical for your sphere this time of year? Just engage them physically. Pieces that are engaged physically have 3 times more recollection than digital. We are seeing over and over again that physical direct mail is outperforming email. And how do we remember things better? Physical touch. It just works a different part of the brain. Even better, pop by their house if that's not weird. Make that phone call, but at a minimum, definitely send them something physical. Here's a quick example. We bought our house maybe 10 or so years ago. The realtor that sold us the house, we walked into an open house and we ended up using her to, she was not the listing agent. She was holding it open for someone in her office. She ended up writing the contract for us and we used her. She was great. She was efficient. She was kind. She was fast. She sent us a holiday card the following year with the wrong name, which was a little weird. I use Sierra as my middle name and legally I'm Elisa, my first name. She sent it to Elisa. So number one, make sure you got the name right, but whatever, I understand it's a database. And we never heard from her again. So that was 10 years ago. If you were to ask me what her name was, I don't know. I can't remember. I think she was with Keller Williams. I don't remember, to be honest. I'm not sure. I knew she was in Danville or San Ramon. I don't remember the city. How would I find her? I don't know. She knows where I live. She sold me the house. Why is she not contacting me? So NAR actually did a report a couple of years ago, and it was something like 35% of people that were satisfied with the realtor that helped them buy or sell their home can't remember the name of that realtor after a year. Don't be that person. Keep in touch with your past clients and give them something physical to remind you of who they are, especially in Q4. Okay, so these are just some seasonal options here. And traditionally, it's a holiday card, a Christmas card, or Hanukkah card, or something like that. But it doesn't have to be. We see a lot of people do it more around Halloween or around Thanksgiving time, just to stand out, because there are so many cards that come in December. So a perfect one would be, here's a little recipe card or a maintenance card, and you can kind of see as I'm scrolling through here. Again, just something physical. I encourage you to touch your sphere in Q4 with something that is not digital. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, let's create Instagrammable moments or social media moments. And this is kind of a fun one, but it's a way to get some interaction that also plays into branding you and creating opportunities for you to use for your marketing. And the idea with this is, again, kind of centered around the holidays. And I'm just going to spew some ideas here for you. So take notes. I don't have anything up on the screen, as I mentioned, but these are things that we've seen people do that work really, really, really well. So number 1 would be a giveaway. So the idea with this is you send out a postcard potentially to your farm. If you want to include your sphere, that's fine, but this could just be for your farm, and that would work too. And you say something like, I will hand deliver a pumpkin to anyone that either scans my QR code, and with Corefact, you can scan that QR code and it's trackable, scans my QR code to go to a Google form and fill out a document, and I'll drop by a pumpkin. Or maybe it's in November, a pumpkin pie. Maybe in December, it's a poinsettia plant, something like that. But make sure that it's a time that you're available to drop it off, because what you want to do is get a photo and ask, their permission, of course, to take a photo, drop it off, take a photo. And we have had people do this. And here's the beauty of this. It creates moments that you can then capture and share on your social media. Dropped off another pumpkin pie to one of my clients in the neighborhood, made someone happy today. And you can sprinkle those in. You don't post them all at once. You could sprinkle those out. So it creates that Instagrammable, shareable moment. Number 2, it creates relationships. Now you've given someone something with no expectation of anything in return. What are their feelings going to be towards you? Gratefulness, kindness, like they like you, trust. You're building something good by giving to the community. There is an investment, of course, right? You're going to be paying, I don't know, how much does a pie cost if you buy it in bulk? $15 a pie, pumpkins or less, whatever the cost is. We had one of our agents do this, and he said, okay, I'm going to do this for the first 10 people that respond, set a limit. And so he said, I'm going to only invest $150 or whatever it was that, he was willing to commit to this endeavor. And he had more people reply than were the limit. I think he had said 10 people reply, and I think he got like 20 responses. So what do you think he did? Do you think he said, oh, I'm sorry to the next 20, you didn't, get it in time and you're over the limit? No, he expanded his budget because he said, this is such a great idea to create these moments and interactions that I'm just going to find the money. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. If you have a budget, feel free to stick to it. But I thought that was a great story. Anna Campbell, who is our director of marketing, she's actually at the Kentucky Association of Realtors convention today and unable to join us live. But she, one year as a realtor, what she did is she did a contest. So she had one winner, and this was in the month of November, that got a Thanksgiving dinner that she had pre-ordered from Whole Foods or one of those that does a pre-made Thanksgiving dinner. And of course, there's an investment, so check your budget on that. But this moment, not only did she take a photo, but she brought balloons and she brought a big bouquet of flowers, and it was a moment. So that moment was documented because of the delivery. They got video, they got YouTube video, they got Instagram video. So they got footage, and it's footage of you giving back to the community, the farm that you are working in, giving back to them this time of year. I think those ideas are gorgeous. So another idea along those lines, an Instagrammable or social media moment, if you will, if you check our newsletter section here, and I'm going to jump into that. If you're not familiar, Corefact does offer newsletters, and these are great because there's so much more content in them. So there are 4 pages of customizable content that you can either use our content, or you can customize to make it more specific to your neighborhood or area or your market. But in this one, if we look at it, I'm going to see if I can blow it up. Pick the back. This one has the idea that you can share with your community about a harvest exchange. I love this idea. And you can put this happens to be on that newsletter. You could leave it on here, change it, or use this idea for yourself. And that's why I'm sharing it, because I think it's a great idea you could use. So this would be, again, a community outreach example that you could potentially put together, which is a harvest exchange. So organize in your community. If you live in your farm area, that's perfect. You could just do it in the area at your home if you want to invite people to your home. But it's a harvest exchange. So everybody brings something to share or swap. So this could be something that is grown in their backyard. We've got, right now, I've got figs that are going like crazy. Apples are starting to get ripe. We've got squash that's ripe this time of year, grapes, all those things that are in bloom or harvesting this time of year. And then all the things that we're making from it. Maybe someone is crafty, or they're a cook and they like to make something. Maybe they just have a favorite recipe, or, whatever it is that they want to bring, but it's an exchange. And you could host something like this, again, building community and documenting those so you can use them for your social media. It's content that you're creating. So it's content creation through community outreach. And then, of course, there's the One Warm Coat drives, the canned soup drives, anything that is generating donations that you can organize, or again, just to give back to the community, anything like a photos with Santa or a shredding event. Those are all really, really, really successful, but don't be afraid to document them. I see people sometimes being afraid to, well, I don't want to, I just want to do this out of the goodness of my heart. I don't want to document it and use it, but this is your business. And if you don't document your business and share what you're doing, no one else will. So, if you want someone else to do the actual videoing, bring a teenager along, pay a neighbor to come, trail you. That's fine. You don't have to actually document it yourself. Have someone else taking the video, but use that content. You're doing something good, and it's perfectly all right to share that. Okay, so we've talked about keeping up with your goals, your working on your sphere, creating Instagram moments. Last is planning. Okay, so this falls into 2 categories. Number 1, take time in Q4, and please, please, please do this. Please, please, please do this to evaluate what worked and what didn't work this year. So again, assuming you created a marketing plan for 2025 and you had some budget, you had some goals, you had some activities, all of that, how did they work for you? And set aside time, and it could be any time in Q4, but Q4 is a great time to do it because we want the mass of the year to have passed us by. December is a great time to do it because you'll have even 2 more months of the year that you can evaluate. But how are you going to evaluate what worked? Is it by responses? Is it by branding? Is it by leads generated? Whatever you did, whatever your efforts were, evaluate whether they worked. Because next step, where I'm going with this, is we're going to plan for 2026. So keep doing what you're doing, but also we need to take a little bit of extra time in Q4 to make sure 2026 is set up correctly. How are we going to do that? So number 1, evaluate what worked, make changes, make adjustments. If we need to take from the budget over here and put it over here, then this is the time to start assessing those. The other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to think about automation. So the best thing you can do for your business to free up and create time is to put processes in place that give you time back. So anything that you can do that can free up your time, start thinking about that. And again, Q4 is a great time to do that because we're planning to be successful for 2026 and the next year. So Corefact does offer a couple of tools for automation that I'm going to walk through, but I do encourage you to just have that mindset of what tasks am I doing on repeat that I don't have to do? So whether it's putting a stamp on a letter, I mean, that's something a machine can do. If it's, walking a neighborhood and just dropping something off and not talking to anybody, a teenager can do that. If it's having interactions, that's you. No one's going to replace your personality. No one's going to replace your negotiation. No one's going to replace your mindset. But if it's something that's replaceable and you can get some time back, start thinking and having those conversations to yourself. So how can Corefact help with that? So number one, we're going to look at campaigns, and then I'm going to end this by showing you our new AI tool. So if you have seen anything on Corefact, you see that we are super excited about something that is coming in Q4 that we'll be unveiling very, very soon. So I'm going to give you a little quick tease of how that works. But first, I want to talk about campaign automation. We know direct mail works, and we know that people that are consistent with their direct mail have the best results. And why is that? And what do I mean? Consistent, we mean once a month at minimum. So we have seen people do different things with their campaigns where actually we had someone featured Corefact on a podcast. I can't remember her name, but we all saw it. We're like, wow, that's awesome. It wasn't endorsed or promoted by Corefact. It was just an agent talking about her strategy. And what she said is she mails once a month, but then starting May through, I think she said May through September, she does twice a month because that's her busy season and she wants to make sure she's hitting it hard. So, she does, she starts a little bit heavier then. We've also seen people, another strategy is when you're new to a neighborhood, you do every 2 weeks for 6 weeks, and then you go to once a month after that. So frequency is going to really jumpstart or elevate that brand awareness, but for consistency, no less than once a month. And then hit a decent sized area where you're seeing some turnover, where you're seeing opportunities. We see people create a mailing list of 25, and if the average turnover rate is now 3%. I mean, when I started in this business, it was like 7. Right now we're down to like 3%, I think. And that if 3% of 25 homes is, I mean, that's like 1.5 homes. And we know like half of homes go to, are listed with friends and family. So what's your opportunity left? I mean, there's no opportunity there. So give yourself enough names that you are sending to on a regular basis that you're creating opportunity for yourself. A good rule of thumb for us, we think a healthy campaign, a healthy number to send to is 250. Now, it doesn't mean if your budget is only to send to 125 that that's not going to be effective. You're just not creating a lot of opportunities for yourself. Now, that being said, I will just give the caveat. It's better to be consistent with 125. I'd rather see you send a 125 every month for 12 months than a 250 every other month or 250 for 6 months and then drop it because you haven't given it enough time. So whatever number you can be consistent with, that's your number. But what we do see, and this is kind of what I was talking about at the beginning, is people get busy. And you get either busy with the holidays or school starting, kids activities, social events. Maybe you get busy with your business, which is a great thing. Maybe you got too many listings and you can't remember to market to fill your pipeline. How can we help with that? Think about automation. We have 2 tools for automation here at Corefact, and I'm going to go through both of them. First of all, we have the Elite campaign. This is our premier, most popular campaign. We have gazillions of top agents that have committed to this and renew year after year. It is a one-time setup fee of $3.99, and then you pay for your postcards after that. That $3.99 gets you a cohesive set of designs, and there's no renewal on that. So that is an evergreen, one-time setup. And the beautiful thing about this, remember consistency? Well, it's consistency not only in your cadence, but consistency in your branding. And this creates that for you. You'll also get a set of just listed, just sold cards that match this, prominently representing you. This is not a traditional design with the agent in a box. that we've seen, you're cut out. It's a cutout headshot. You're prominent. It's your business. The background setting is going to look like your business, your area, your color scheme, your logo. And we just have so many agents that love us handling it. We'll work on your list. We'll schedule these. We'll create the pieces for you. If you are interested in learning more about Elite, then let us know and we can connect you with one of our customer experience members and they will get you hooked up. Elite, cannot recommend it enough. Hands down is the number one way to go. However, if you prefer to DIY it and you would like to set it up yourself, no cost other than the cost of the cards when they mail out, then we do have a campaign manager that you are welcome to take advantage of and set up your own campaigns. So just to quickly show you, both of these are accessible on the Corefact site under campaigns. And for this one, the campaign manager, you would browse through the Corefact designs. Let's say I wanted to jump to the seasonal pieces and maybe do a Halloween card. And I would add it. And then maybe this is a Veterans Day card, and so on. And so you would build your whole campaign. Then you do have to go in and choose a back. Then you do have to add the customization. You do have to upload your list. You have to schedule it. It's a little bit of work. We do have customer experience representatives that will help you with this. So you're not alone in setting this up, but you're going to do a little more work on your own. And as you can see, the representation of you is going to be a little bit smaller. Like if you look at this one, for example, remember on the Elite design, how big and prominent the photo and the headshot was. This is more of the traditional headshot in a box. So from a representation standpoint, the Elite one definitely has you as a more prominent position, and that consistency cannot be beat. If you're creating pieces on your own, they may not have that consistency, which delays that brand recognition. And so you are able to achieve that brand recognition much quicker through the Elite program. But I wanted to point this out if anybody wanted to take advantage and use our campaign tool. Okay, so 2 different ways to automate through Corefact that can help you with your marketing goals of touching that farm area once a month. That should definitely be a goal for everybody on this call. Okay, what else can we do to automate you in 2026 and help you get more time back? We are so excited to share our new AI conversation tool, which is going to be launched in Q4. It is not live yet. So all I can show you are slides because it is not yet on the site, but I'm going to pull up this document here, which if you have joined any of our AI webinars, you've maybe seen this you've seen this more in depth. So this would be a little bit of a repeat. For those of you who haven't seen those, we are offering those every 2 weeks. They are not recorded and shared because it's still in beta. So we're a little, hush hush with it still. So we're only doing them as live recordings at this point. And we're doing them every 2 weeks, and they are a full 45 minutes to an hour on this content. So if you want to see more of this, be sure and sign up for the next one of those webinars. But just to walk you through it, this is our new AI assistant. And here is an example of a postcard that we've developed. And one thing you'll note on a lot of postcards, if we look at postcard designs, agents tend to put a ton of details about the property onto the design. So we've got to fit it all onto the card. Number of beds, number of baths, when it was built, all the amenities, list price, It just goes on and on and on. And the font ends up being very small and cluttered because we're trying to fit it all on the postcard. Well, what if we could bring the conversation and the details about the property more to a conversation and interaction? And that's what we're doing with this tool. So the first iteration of this tool is going to be about properties, but we will certainly have the ability to have the knowledge base be something about the market or about you as a realtor. So many different uses for it. And if we look at how that works, it would say, ask me questions about this property. You would scan the QR code on the design and it would launch this AI assistant in a conversation. So then they would play this talk track, and it would say something like, how can I help you today? I'm here to answer any questions about the listing at 123 Main Street. And you might ask it, oh, what's the list price, or how many bedrooms, or what school zone is it in? And it will answer, it will responsively answer. What you'll then be able to see as a Corefact user with this tool is a transcript of the conversation, and you can listen to it. So you can play these audio files. You can download the entire audio file. You can read it. Any requests for meetings or viewings, you would see that here, and you'd be able to respond and reach out to the person. Maybe they said, hey, I'd like to see this property on Sunday. And the AI assistant will say, great, I'll let them know. And this is where you would see that information. The audio file, I think, is tremendous because you can hear things in a conversation that you don't necessarily get from just written. So someone's excitement in the response about a school, for example, oh, it's that school zone. You can tell that that's important to them. And then in the writing, you may not have known that that was as important. And so I think the audio file is really, really interesting to have that as well. They, of course, as a user, have to approve and give consent that they're going to be recorded, and they know that this recording has taken place. And we will adhere to all of the Fair Housing Act conversation laws. And we did this yesterday, and someone was on there saying, "Is this legal? Are we going to be compliant?" And we are going to make sure that we have all the terms and set up correctly. The knowledge base for this is going to come from setting up your assistant. So you can, number one, customize your assistant by voice tone and how quickly they respond and how short their answers are. Are they conversational? Are they professional? There's lots of different ways you can set up your assistant from a voice perspective. And it's not supposed to sound like you. It's supposed to be an assistant. But this is a way that when we talk about freeing up time and automation, you can get some time back because this AI tool, this assistant, is having conversations on your behalf. Why are they not reaching out to you directly and having this conversation? You're in an appointment with you're signing a contract with another client and you had to put it to voicemail. You couldn't pick up. You're at the movies with your family on a Friday night. Or they didn't want to call you yet. They didn't want to interact with you directly because it's 2 a.m. and they couldn't sleep and they're scrolling homes and they just had a question. They didn't want to interact with the person. They're a millennial or a Gen Z who's afraid to have a conversation with a live person until they absolutely must need to. But they're okay talking to a bot. So lots of reasons that they or you might prefer this interaction instead of that live phone call, with the goal, of course, when they're ready, when you're available, to have that be a live conversation. Of course, that's always the goal. But do you want to miss opportunities because you weren't available, because they were afraid to reach out? No, this is going to make that connection, free up your time, give them access to the questions that they want the answers to, and record that all for your transparency. Okay, so here is an example of an assistant that's been set up for a particular listing. And this is where you would create the name, create the description. We're going to help you with this. So we're going to have default content when you're setting up your assistant, and then we're going to help you edit it. So we have, again, like Morgan is a seasoned executive assistant with years of experience supporting top producing real estate professionals. She's friendly, enthusiastic, full of positive energy, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to help you with this. Don't worry about writing it all on your own. This gives just some of the voice setup that I was talking about. And then the knowledge base. I do want to mention the knowledge base because that is an important step. We can help you create that knowledge base. And basically, we're going to get the details from a URL, whether it's, I hate to say it, but Zillow or, your listing somewhere. We're going to get the details for that listing and we're going to drop them in here. We're going to automatically help you with that. So don't worry about that. If you wanted to do something like a market update piece, that would also be an option. We would get local market stats with your help, drop those in here. So maybe you don't have a listing and you want to use this AI engagement tool to talk about what's happening in your market. You could certainly add that QR code to a market update piece. So lots of options for this. Maybe it's just about the home buying and selling process and you're sending something out promoting your services. So not about a listing, but whatever the knowledge base is here that we're loading it with, that's what it's going to know to respond to. And we're going to make sure that it's not fabricating information. I know that's always a concern when it comes to AI is it going to make things up? Is it going to make me look bad? And so it's always going to speak about you respectfully. And if it doesn't know the answer, it's not going to make things up. It's going to refer to you to get the question asked. And this isn't going to just be on Corefact postcards. If you've used Corefact postcards, you're an Elite client, you've heard of Elite, that little QR code is going to work beautifully and be trackable just like our trackable pieces are. But this also works independently of a mailed piece. So this could be on a business card and maybe it's more about your services. This could be on a brochure. This could be on a sign or a sign writer. As you can see, the possibilities are endless. This could be on your website, which Corefact doesn't even offer websites. Maybe it's just a widget you're putting on a website that engages your consumers in conversation. So many of us are using voice right now for engaging AI. So whether that's, you're talking to chat or talking to Alexa or Siri or any of those, we are all getting used to engaging AI with our voices. We've had people on the webinar say, well, how are our consumers going to know what to say? They're figuring it out. Remember, none of us knew how to talk to Alexa when we first got them in the house. I didn't know what to say to her. She's probably going to go off because I'm talking about her right now. But now I talk to her all the time. I don't know that I could function without her. I don't know, how would I tell the weather or set a timer or play music if I didn't have her? AI is going to be in our daily lives all the time. We're all going to know how to talk to it. We've had people scan this and say, oh, okay, that's neat. And then others say, how many bedrooms? What's the list price? Again, what freeway is it close to? What airport is it close to? And really understand the engagement. And I think we're going to see that trending more and more as people get more comfortable with AI. So again, the point of me showing this to you is to talk about automation. Start thinking about, and this is a great tool, not available yet. If you want to sign up for our early access tool or early access list, I should say, scan this QR code right now that's on the screen. And this will take you to a sign up sheet where you can sign up to be made known. This is free to sign up, by the way. But we're going to let you know first when it becomes available, what the pricing is, how you can get that early access. I have heard our early access members are going to get 50% off pricing. So this is also going to potentially give you some discounts when we first release it. So if you are interested or think you might want to learn more about this, sign up for that VIP list. Again, it's free. It's just collecting your name and contact information, and we will email you when we have those details yet. Hopefully within the next month, definitely within Q4. But again, just the reason I share is to go back, remind you again, get you thinking about automation. So whether it's hand addressing stamps or, walking, anything that you can do, think back to your activities and what can you automate. Maybe it's not anything to do with marketing. Maybe it has to do with the way you file contracts or, something unrelated to what we've talked about today, but just start thinking about that in Q4. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that encouraged you and inspired you to keep going through the end of the year. Don't give up. The year's not over. 25% of the year left. Come on, guys. We can do it. Let's end the year strong and make it the best Q4 you've ever had. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.